So, how should we think about the future of DC Comics? Well, I mean, if you've been reading social media for the last week or so, it's been all doom and gloom. It's been Dan Didio left, which a lot of people were cheering for, but suddenly that's a harbinger of the apocalypse, and 5G is going to be a disaster, and AT&T is going to sell DC, and it's all a big mess. What's going to happen to DC? Let me give you some predictions. Let me give you some thoughts, and let me give you some things that people are definitely going to disagree with, but I ask that you just hear me out. Everybody, this is Perch. I'm going to give you a view of 5G, DC, the future, all the rest of what's coming. That may it's definitely going to be a different point of view than what you're hearing other places. It's definitely not going to be an overly pessimistic or optimistic view. This is a pragmatist view of DC. But I suspect I will be right because boring is often right. But let's see where we go. First off, the elephant in the room is that a lot of people predicting that DC is dead, that this is the end of times. Dan Didio firing was the dominoes starting to topple. AT&T has grown tired of the comic company that they deliberately invested in less than 2 years ago, but now they suddenly want to dump completely. Of course, that makes absolutely no sense to anyone with any kind of business acumen, but hey, that doesn't stop videos from getting made. It's fine. Downvote away, all you people. But where does DC land? By the way, I have at least some evidence from Kiwi Farms and from 4chan and from Twitter and others. The people who are downvoting my video, uh, the people who consistently do that, like Dan Didio and others, the people who are doing that are not the quote unquote SJWs who are off to ruin people's fun. No, it's actually other people. The people who bragged about that, the people who got on Kiwi Farms and other places to talk about how this stuff is garbage. Guess what? Bad news, folks. It is definitely a certain crowd that is not the quote unquote comics community, comics creators. It's the other people that are downvoting my videos. Why? I have no freaking idea, but it is what it is. So I suspect we'll get more of that here as well because whatever. So first off, here's my prediction. I think that DC is going to be clumsy as hell between right now and Dark Metal. And I say that because Dark Metal is going to start just a little bit later than it should, meaning the Justice League storyline wrapped up. We got Hell Arisen, and we got some of these various storylines, and DC as a comics line is a bit of a mess right now in terms of kind of what's supposed to wait. And you've got a lot of comics that feel like they're treading water. I know the creators don't view it this way. The publisher doesn't view it this way, but the readers and the retailers feel it this way. Comics feel like they're treading water a little bit until finally the curtain is lifted on Dark Metal and we start to really understand what that's all about. So once Dark Metal comes out, my feeling is the majority, again, not everybody, and nothing I say in this entire video is going to be for everybody. But the majority of people are going to generally like Dark Metal. It's going to be a payoff to a bunch of events. It's going to be big. It's going to have villains doing villainous things. It's going to have heroes doing heroic things. It's going to have iconic heroes doing iconic hero things. And I think the thing to note here is forget about Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo and any of the things that they've said. And I want you to focus on that moment in Justice League where Scott Snyder had Clark Kent, Superman, interacting with Jonathan Kent, what it meant to be a father, what it meant to be a superhero. I don't have the exact issue in front of me because, of course, I'm driving. But that moment of Superman being Superman was an iconic Superman moment. This was when Superman was trapped in a universe where the yellow sun was gone. He was slowly degrading his powers, and he had to escape somehow. How could he basically beat the impossible? He was trapped in a trap that was perfect for him, but he overcame anyway through hope and perseverance and everything that Superman is about. I still maintain to this day that Scott Snyder is always tied to Batman, that he's written Batman stories and everything else. But I think Scott Snyder is a born Superman writer. He gets Superman just so well. And again, that's my opinion. It's not going to be everybody else's, but I think he gets the core of who Superman is as a character, and I think there's a natural affinity to what he brings to Superman. I think that was really revealed in Justice League. That was one of the top moments of 2019 by far. So I think going from that, I think Scott Snyder, Greg Capullo, they will deliver an event that will feel iconic. That will be heroes versus villains, and it will come to pass. I think Dark Metal will be a bigger event, a bigger moment than Metal, and I think it will both wrap up, conclude, do a bunch of big things, big moments for comics. And then here's going to come the controversial comment that nobody's going to believe, but I ask you, just disagree with me. It's fine, of course, but remember this moment. My bet is that 5G as an initiative, I've always maintained the way to think about 5G is think about it like Age of Apocalypse. Not like it's going to be a repeat of that storyline, not that even the beats of that storyline are the same or what it does is the same, but think of it as a temporary break from a number of comics that showcases a possible future or alternative vision of the DC universe that may or may not play into what DC becomes, but gives some interesting angles for where it could go. That's always what I believed 5G was going to be, and the creators involved in 5G may or may not prove it to be successful or not. I mean, a story is only as good as its writer and its creative team. You could have an idea, and that same idea can be executed, perfectly or horribly, depending on who's involved in it. So anyway, um, I think 5G is going to wind up being better than people think. And I say it for this reason. Most people are gauging their opinion of 5G on a Bleeding Cool article where it basically stated that this Bleeding Cool article stated that we're going to kill off all the traditional white superheroes and we're going to replace them with diverse, minority, different things. And we're going to see diversity in the DC line. And I think not only was that an incredibly irresponsible read on what that storyline was going to be, if Didio was still there and 5G was going to go however it was originally going to go, my belief is that it would not have been nearly as, quote unquote PC friendly as Bleeding Cool is making out to be. I think Bleeding Cool is writing clickbait ads, clickbait articles designed for clicks. And they were trying to get people riled up, and they did. And so if you trace kind of the patient zero of all the 5G videos and consternation and anger and everything else, it comes down to a Bleeding Cool article where they basically stirred the pot to get people wound up. And I think that was bad for comics, bad for everything else. And I think the people who bought into that are suckers. I'm sorry, all you people who made videos about 5G is terrible and it's going to be a disaster and DC it's on its last legs and AT&T is going to sell it. I mean, you're a sucker. I think you are buying into a website that is known for clickbait and garbage and ads and just the worst possible elements of the comic book community is represented in a lot of the articles that are written by that bozo over there. And I'm sorry if it sounds like I'm harboring a personal grudge to that guy. I definitely do not like what they put out. I think it's harmful for comics. I think it's absolutely self-serving. I think that they're out for one person and one person only, themselves. And that goes for Rich Johnson and Jude Terror and all the people over there who write articles with one purpose: promote themselves. And so whether the truth is involved or not doesn't matter. And I think the articles they wrote about 5G were designed to get attention, designed to get clickbait, designed to get outrage, and too many people were suckers and bought in. So on the same end, I'm sorry, I'm just going to say it. The various your boy Zach, the Ethan Van Skyvers, all the other people who went on and on about videos of 5G and how cringy it was going to be and all the rest, they were going off of gossip material. Their source was gossip. Their source was not insiders. Their source was not, people who were saying, how it was going to be. Their source was Rich Johnson. And just stop for a moment and think about that. These guys all bought into somebody who is a known troublemaker, who is known for, shading the facts, coloring things around in order to promote their own agenda. That's what he's known for. And everybody was like, all right, sure, let's just use that as our source and then do 5 hour videos on that. And I'm sure it was certainly these guys all have more followers than me. There's, the popularity of a Richard Meyer or Ethan to me is not even in the same universe. I mean, those guys are far more successful, more popular, everything else. The human sunbeam is beaming all over the place. I've got a tiny little group of people listen to me. That's fine. I'm not in it for money. It's okay. And so they're going to be heard far more than I have, whatever. But the point of all this is, if the source is garbage, the story is garbage. Doesn't really matter who's conveying it. And so my guess is 5G, when it comes out, is going to exceed expectations because one, expectations have been set to the floor based on everything that's gone on. And two, I do not believe it's going to be anywhere close to what was originally advertised. I think it's going to be a glimpse into a possible future. I think it's going to be a chance to do some fun off the wall things. I think that the ones that the readers and the fans respond to are going to get carried forward. I may be wrong. I'm not talking to, I've talked to lots of people. I've been given lots of kind of wink, wink, nudge, nudge comments on 5G and DC's future from multiple writers, multiple editors, multiple people in marketing. I've talked to some artists. I've talked to a number of different people at DC. They all have their different views of what's going on. Nobody's telling me the big scoop of what's going to happen, nor should they. I'm a bozo from the outside. I haven't signed an NDA. They shouldn't be telling me their secrets. That should be revealed in the course of time. That's how it should be. But my guess is 5G will not be as disastrous as people think. And my also strong prediction is that whatever influence AT&T and Time Warner and these other folks have, it's going to be, hey, DC, tell big, iconic stories. Go huge. Go swing for the fences. Tell the biggest possible stories you can tell these heroes. You don't have to scramble to create kind of new IP that's responding to flash in the pan marketing or, buzz of the moment. Just tell the best stories you can. So interestingly enough, consider this my scoop. I have now heard from 2 writers, 3 editors, and 3 pencilers, 3 artists, 3 pencilers, and every single one has said the same thing. The morale at DC is up. People are more encouraged about what's coming. Not because Didier was fired, not because like the reign of terror is over, anything like that, but because they feel like there's a light at the end of the tunnel. They feel like there's a hope to succeed. 2 different writers, 2 very influential writers, I might add, 3 editors that represent the core books, pencilers that are drawing some of the bigger stories that are going on. They all say the same thing. This isn't a group chat. They're saying it individually. They're all saying the same thing. There's reason to be optimistic at DC. So will it come to pass? Will it not? I don't know. And you know what? Nobody has to make a bet on it. Guess what? The great thing about us as readers, as fans, is we get to just find out. We don't have to buy if it looks like garbage. We can wait and see. We're in the perfect position to see how these stories are going to play out. Retailers, not as great a position, but still, we don't have to make a bet right now. We can see how it's all going to come to pass. And that's the cool thing about comics. So that's my my reason of optimism for you. I mean, just take it with a grain of salt. I think things may be better than we think. Better certainly than the marketing and the buzz and what people are saying things. So there you go. Just hang in there, folks. Maybe life's not going to be so bad. Leave me a comment below. Let me know what you're thinking. Call me stupid. Call me crazy. That's totally fine. Again, don't believe me. You don't have to. You can say, nope, I disagree. Nope, not getting my dollar. All the rest. It's your dollar. That's your choice. Totally. But what I am saying is just let's take a look now, take a look in 3 months, take a look in 6 months, and see where it's all going. Hey, thanks for listening. Like, comment, subscribe, all those things. Thanks for listening.